All right, click the links to our channel here over at subscribe. Sorry, I got a mailbox if you want to. I would say since like Anheuser Busch and Jack Daniels have both gone into this BLT stuff, Russian vodka is probably going to be the future for us. So send me those little airline bottles. So new. I don't think you can send alcohol through the mail. So but definitely check out. There's no shortage of Russian. You couldn't possibly. How can you support the evil Putin? Russian vodka is radical, and Russians are just not the same pussies that the Americans have turned into. I don't even, Anheuser Busch is like a Chinese company now, anyway. So but the thing is, to see Jack Daniels turn BLT is what a disappointment. Is Jim Beam still okay? I mean, what about Southern Comfort? Like are there any companies that are not bought out by? At this point, you're going to have to go to small independent people making their own backyard still. So anyway, which is a lot of fun too. So new Star Wars Mary Sue movie, Mo Vagina, and hashtag Vader was right. She returns to rebuild Jedi Order. Nobody cares, so probably not. And then they also say Ridley's role in Star Wars isn't over. Um, we will see about that. Time will tell. I suspect it was over in 2019. And to be fair to her, she wasn't the worst part of the Disney atrocity. But I mean, that doesn't say much. There was a lot bad. Oh, hey, let's have a watch party. Let's get together and watch Disney Star Wars. And people look around like, are you serious? Why would we? Are there just going to be like 1979 circa versions of pharmaceuticals? Handing out all the chemical enhancements you'd need to get through a movie like that, because that would be the only way you'd get through the movie and not be drooling like. The only thing I can say about those was they were better than the Christmas special, the holiday special. Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, again, those were made at the time of peak Bolivian marching powders, what got them to write those movies. Anyway, so if they think they're going to make a $250 million plus film with a female lead, I think you're going to have a challenging time selling that. Now, the Star Wars movies 2015, they were over $250 million to start with, and I think they topped out at under $300 million, which were expensive for the time. But they're not going to continue that escalation for a female-led Star Wars. There's no effing way. If anything, they would dial that back to if they were smart, under $200 million. I mean, if they're really smart, they wouldn't make the movie at all. So she's going to be a single mom in some out of the way planet farming plot armor with her rugrats after, I don't know, one of the guys from the original films left her. There'll be a new threat on the horizon. Some evil, blonde haired, blue eyed Hugo Boss men will probably be oppressing the marginalized and disenfranchised, pox, wox, furry otherkin natives who are totally living peacefully in Wakandaville and absolutely not cannibalizing each other and kidnapping each other for sex slaves. Listen, I'm just calling it now that there'll be a blonde haired, blue eyed person who's going to be the evil oppressor. Oh, Bianca, you're such a silly Billy. How could you possibly know such a thing? You must be the Hugo Boss of Nostradamus. You know, maybe that would be base. There'll be a scene in the market where evil, blonde, vaguely Austrian man will oppress some sand people by not respecting their pronouns, and Mary Sue will have to whip out her lightsaber and cut his head off. She will teach them that there's no place for hate on Arrakis' desert planet. All hate will be murdered and buried in shallow graves. They're going to slaughter all the hate in the galaxy. And there'll probably be, what were the German flag colors? Like red, black, and white, that kind of thing. There's going to be something like that, reminiscent of either Trump mixed with that conflict from 80 years ago, because everything in their worldview is World War II and Trump, and you look around like there's other periods of history. No. This is super duper important because CNN told me it's important. Yeah, how well is CNN doing now? So I promise you that there's going to be some metaphor for trans something. Somehow they'll work that theme in. I don't know if they go so far as to work in the colors. It's one of the colors is like a light blue, like a baby blue or something, which is just it's just insanely disgustingly creepy as I say it out loud. I mean, all this stuff is really challenging to get through these videos without editing them. Anyway, there's going to be metaphors for the BLT stuff for sure, and then the Trump and then the Austrian corporal is obviously. Somehow they're going to work that theme in. And yes, they're probably going to have Tupac's walks, furry otherkins kissing in the background, or whatever is popular at the time. I mean, they're as subtle as a friggin' tractor. Now, does Disney believe in all of this kind of stuff? Disney is a tool to sacrifice souls to Moloch. They are evil incarnate. They believe in filth, degeneracy, and corruption. They are the left-hand path. The sinister versus dexterous, the meme of the left or right hand path that you see on Gab and Telegram all the time of choose the path you want to take. There are deeper universal truths everywhere if you want to look for it, and Disney really isn't that deep. It's a bunch of, I mean, I don't know if you saw that Zoom call. Bounty into Comics has done a really good coverage of it, of these women talking about their kids who are all BOT, and the woman's like in their 40s and 50s and whatnot. And these, I mean, now these kind of chicks have their kids later in life, and they're talking about the sexuality of their children. And you look at me like, oh, we just can't live with these people. Like it's sometimes when you see a situation and then you see what the crowd accepts and you realize you can extrapolate it into the future, and like you see this like a the graph. Imagine I had a budget and like a graphic of a neuron with all these dendrites, coming out from it, and all this like these massive sparks, and you can like look into the future and go, we have to separate from these people. Like people who are doing this stuff to kids, you realize, there's no way to turn this around, because if it's already at this point, it's beyond the point of no return. Beyond the point of no return, yeah, it was decades ago. You know what I'm saying? I wish there's probably a phrase for it. If I wasn't such an idiot, I would know the phrase for it of like having that instant epiphany of the cloud, the thought bubble over your head. You're like, there's no future. There, like you can look to the future and go, it's either a peaceful civil dissolution into a different model of the nation, or a less than peaceful one, but it can't continue with people who do this kind of stuff to kids. I mean, hopefully it can't continue. It's like the worst would be to sit back and just accept it and just allow it. That would be like you really give up your soul to allow that kind of stuff. Anyway, as an adult, I realize now that I'd be cheering for Vader nowadays. He and Luke should have slaughtered the Emperor and ruled the galaxy together. Absolutely. You can look around you and see what a S-hole democracy leads to. Apparently, it always leads to a banana republic where you prosecute ex-presidents post-statute of limitations. Because, as it turns out, the Constitution is just a piece of paper. Unfortunately, there is no magic ink. There's no magic paper. Democracy seems to inevitably lead to collapse because politicians will just pander to the bread and circuses crowd to give them short-term gains at the expense of the stability of an empire. So the rebels were going to slaughter the emperor and replace them with their own empire. So let me guess, the taxes that were going to the empire are now going to the new rebel empire. And if they don't pay, they'll probably be punished because you're going to enforce that payment with force and violence. Like the old guys. Yeah. Well, no. Communism's different this time. It's going to work totally cool. I mean, couldn't the fashionable ones also say the same thing? It's like, to be fair. Anyway, so the new boss is the same as the old boss. Yeah, I'm cheering for Vader because at least they were stylish in their space Hugo boss. The rebels are pretty much a classic globalist Bolshevik storytelling cliche. It's a found family concept meant to destroy nationalism, destroy your roots, abandon your family. That the found family is much better than your organic blood tribe. That goes against nature. Yeah, this is new. It's all in 100 years. You can ignore 10 million years of when we left the trees and were tribal. Yeah, ignore that past 10 million years. No? You people are insane. How dare you call us insane? He looks around at some of the things they're doing, and especially with the recent spat of violence. 6 Christians got deleted by one of these people. Except, no, it's not a strength. It's weakness. That's the goal the whole time. It's easily controlled by pernicious outside forces. The more diverse a group is, the weaker it is. This has been studied for years in sociology and cultural anthropology. I mean, that's no surprise. The only shocking thing is when politicians keep repeating that adage and like nobody in the media raises a hand and go, do you have any evidence for this being true? Because here are some examples of it clearly not being true. It's like, kick that person out of the meeting. So anyway, does the story matter anymore? none of this fits the Star Wars framework. The characters were wrapped up in Episode 6. You can continue this story outward from there. But Disney went back and because in the future, at this age, they'd be grandparents or great grandparents or whatever. It's like, yeah, they can be the wise old ones for sure. But Disney went back and retold a variation on the exact same theme from 77 to 83 using the same actors. It was pathetic that they couldn't think of an original story to tell. No, Disney Star Wars is not going to hold up the test of time. But this is the globalist humiliation ritual to destroy George Lucas's old story and insult the original audience of, I don't know, 40 to 60-ish year olds because they're mostly male, and of course they're the wrong skin tone. The original blonde Luke going off on an adventure that fills the Disney parasites with an incandescent rage. That idea literally makes them sick. That's how much they hate the beautiful people. A blonde haired, blue eyed guy goes off on an adventure. Yeah, it's pretty classic storytelling 101. You see them sitting around the table with their pharmaceuticals in front of them and thinking like, we're going to need to deconstruct this. The thing is, what they can do is they can buy the rights to the stories, but they can't write their own. It doesn't matter if it's Amazon or Disney, all these other things. They're parasites. They can't tell good stories because good stories are nationalist tribal stories. I mean, there's literally 10 million years of that concept, and they're pushing globalism, which doesn't work. No, I mean it's never worked, and it's never going to work. And you look at it at small scale, you look at the large scale, and you go, oh yeah, this is insane. You people are all just crazy people. It's weird that we take you so seriously. It's like, well, you take us seriously because the dissemination of information is at our fingertips. It's just pure 1984s of how many fingers, Winston? How many fingers? I mean, you have a gun to my head, so whatever you want me to say is the correct answer. Hey, Copernicus, heliocentric or geocentric? Like, well, you have a sword at my neck, so whatever you want me to answer is how I'm going to answer when you have the sword at my neck. The thing is, we were always at war with Oceania, and we were never at war with Oceania, and men or women and crocodiles make great family pets. That doesn't seem to be in accord with reality. Nazi says what? Globalist themed movies are pure propaganda, which is why I say Hollywood in general is over. They're just not going to get Larry Fink BlackRock funding for good stories, which is what a lot of this type of stuff ties into. The funding, the production companies themselves, and the distribution. And you look at the kind of people who are pulling the strings on that, and you go, that's why I say Hollywood is over. You can read a book, or you can make your own Hollywood in some small way. People making short movies on cell phones and stuff would be a trip. But like, they might be fun, but sound pretty low budget. Yeah, for sure. $10,000 movie or something with the editing that goes into it. Is it going to be better than Disney Star Wars? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, you could take like claymation and do puppets or something. It's like, yeah, absolutely be better. That's how bad. It's not just Disney or Warner Brothers or all these other big Amazon, whatever. It's all of Hollywood. They're all going in the same direction. Anyway, my vagina. Like, comment, subscribe, and see you guys all next episode.